Welcome to our cozy library book chat. I'm so glad you're here. Go ahead and pull up a chair on the reading rug right beside me because we are jumping straight in today. In this explainer, we're stepping headfirst into the great literary universe to explore a seriously breathtaking new book called The Guarded Apathy Prism. Together, we're going to unpack its lessons on forgotten worth, the true profound impact of actually listening, and the desperate rescue of a little green book that just really needed a lantern in the dark.
So, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like a story that forgot why it mattered? It's a heavy thought, right? But let's just start by reflecting on that feeling for a second. We've all had those moments of burnout, or feeling just completely too small. Well, in the great literary universe, stories actually experience this very human emotion. They get exhausted, they lose their thread, and when they do, this very specific quiet alarm bell starts to ring.
Our adventure begins with a child named Mira. Now, Mira is in a library that only opens when the world grows quiet, and there, sitting between all these sleepy dictionaries and old adventure books, is a shelf of pauses. One rainy evening, Mira notices that one of these pauses is glowing. It's not some loud, blinding light. It's a small, tired glow that's basically whispering, "I'm still here, but only just." It's an immediate signal that a story somewhere out there is in major distress.
Now, this glowing pause summons a really remarkable trio known as the In-Betweeners. Meet Ari, Link, and Seamus. Their job in the great literary universe is absolutely crucial. They rescue forgotten, tired narratives that have gotten stuck right between where they began and where they're trying to go. You've got one carrying a lantern with no flame, one wearing a scarf the exact color of old book covers, and the third with pockets completely full of folded paper stars. And they tell Mira that tonight, a small story is stuck and has wandered off.
Okay, so where exactly did the story wander off to? It retreated to the G.A.P, the Guarded Apathy Prism. I know, it sounds like this terrifying, serious place. But Ari reassures Mira. The conflict here isn't about fighting monsters in some dangerous realm. Instead, it's a heavily guarded fog of self-abandonment where exhausted stories go to hide. They retreat there when they fold themselves smaller, when no one listens to them, or honestly, when they just feel way too tired to keep going. But to even enter this fog, the triad needs to light Link's empty lantern. And here's the catch. They don't light it with fire, and they don't use big, fancy, perfect words either. Instead, Mira realizes they need kind words, honest words, words that don't rush you. Think of the kind of words a favorite teacher uses when they say, "Hey, try again, I'm still right here." When Mira speaks those words, the lantern fills with this incredibly safe, soft golden glow that literally warms the air. It becomes a lantern that truly listens.
So with the lantern lit, they walk through a silver doorway straight into the pearl gray fog of the G.A.P. As they're navigating past all these floating, unfinished fragments of stories, Seamus drops this incredibly profound truth. He says, "You never drag a tired story back. You sit near it first." I mean, wow. That just brilliantly illustrates the extreme empathy required when dealing with apathy, you know? It shows how we absolutely have to approach burnout with gentleness, never force. The fog is guarded precisely because tired stories need this incredible level of care.
Deep behind a low hill of this fog, they finally find their target. And guys, it is just heartbreaking. They find a little green book. It's faded and its pages are curled inward just like a child hugging their knees. It is the perfect visual representation of what self-erasure and self-sabotage actually look like. When the book sees them, it pulls itself even tighter. But the triad, they don't rush it. They just sit down near it on the foggy ground. Mira asks, super gently, "Are you the story that forgot why it mattered?" And the book gives this tiny shiver and peeks open just one page.
On that single page, the book has written in pale ink that it was only about a small thing. We are seeing the little book's imposter syndrome at work right here. It reveals it's just a story about a child sharing their last biscuit with a bird. But then the book immediately compares itself to epic tales of dragons, kings, castles, and storms. It has totally convinced itself that a biscuit just doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And as it spirals into this internal conflict and massive self-doubt, the heavy fog actually thickens around it.
Seeing this, Mira turns to the In-Betweeners and asks how to help something so tired feel safe again. And they share this exact, actionable procedure for helping a tired story uncurl from the fog. First, Ari says, "Do not tell it to hurry." Then Link says, "Bring light, but not too much." Seamus chimes in, "Remember for it until it can remember for itself." And then Mira adds the final, crucial piece. Ask a gentle question.
It is an absolute masterclass in holding space for someone who's struggling. And Mira immediately puts this into action. She beautifully reframes the narrative for the little book, telling it that a biscuit can actually be a huge thing if someone is hungry. Then, this amazing transformation happens. The book remembers the bird was cold. Mira points out, well, then it wasn't just a biscuit, it was breakfast. Ari adds that it was kindness. And finally, the book writes for itself. It was being seen. Through this gentle reframing, the little book realizes this seemingly insignificant act was actually life-changing. As the fog starts to loosen up, the book stands up on its bottom edge, shakes out its pages, gives a tiny little bow, and writes, "Thank you for not making me become a dragon story." This right here is the poignant climax of acceptance. The little green book finally, truly realizes that it has profound value exactly as it is. It doesn't need to be some epic, loud fantasy tale to matter.
Now, what happens next is just magical. Healing one story causes this massive, beautiful ripple effect across the entire great literary universe. The fog lifts softly, kind of like a sleepy child lifting their head. And all around them, those unfinished fragments start to heal. A floating boat remembers the sea and actually draws a wave. An unsung song hums a note. It just goes to show how our own recovery naturally inspires healing in the environment all around us.
Before they leave the G.A.P., Mira asks the group what they would carry into the fog if someone needed hope. Some suggest patience, or light that listens, or second chances. But Mira chooses something different. She notes, sometimes the question makes room for a story to come back. Because instead of forcing an answer or telling someone what they should feel, simply carrying a gentle, patient question into the fog is the ultimate key to creating space for recovery.
And because of that space, the story's true identity completely returns. The little book's newly restored title darkens in ink, The Biscuit and the Bird. And right underneath it, a subtitle forms that pretty much solidifies the theme of our entire chat today. A story about how little kindnesses are not little at all. It is such a gorgeous reminder that the impact we make in quiet, small moments often carries the weight of the whole world for the person receiving them.
As the Triad and Mira finally carry the book home safely within the circle of their lantern light, notice how the atmosphere of the G.A.P noticeably shifts. It completely changes from this thick, heavy gray trap of isolation to a soft morning blue resting place. It's the exact color of a quiet new beginning. The G.A.P is still there, of course, to safely hold the stories that aren't quite ready yet, but it's no longer a place of despair.
Back in the library, the rain finally stops. As they return the little book to the reading rug, the in-betweeners explain their ongoing work. They place the book on a stand, leave the lantern nearby, and tuck a paper star inside it. When Mira asks what happens if the book ever forgets its worth again, the Triad calmly explains. Well, then someone kind will read it, or ask it a good question. The work of keeping stories alive is continuous, and it is highly communal. We all play a part.
As we near the end of our session today, Mira curls up in a reading chair and watches the morning light touch the sky, and the story leaves us with this incredibly powerful thought. Something small had remembered it was never small to the one who needed it. This perfectly mirrors our own journeys, doesn't it? Our own struggles with imposter syndrome and our deep need for self-compassion. The Little Green Book's journey really is our journey. It's a reminder that we don't have to be loud to be essential.
So I want to close our chat today with a challenge for you. Think about this. What small kindness from today might have mattered more than you realized? I really want to leave you to reflect on this. Think about the lantern words you've used recently. Think about how even a seemingly insignificant kindness like sharing a biscuit can become a literal lantern in someone else's fog. Your small actions are writing incredible, vital stories every single day. Thank you so much for joining this explainer and exploring the Guarded Apathy Prism with me. I really hope you found some lantern light for your own journey today. Please make sure to come back for our next session to find out what next adventure the in-betweeners engage in across the great literary universe. Until then, keep asking good questions, and remember to sit near the tired stories. See you next time!